All right, it's time for lesson 7.3. We're going to evaluate expressions here. So let's get started. Our I can statement, I can solve equations when given the value of a variable. This will be a pretty short lesson today, all right? So a variable is a letter that represents an unknown number. So if we look down here, we have variables. We don't know what x, n, p, t, or w are worth in any of these expressions. Okay. In order to solve them, we do need to know what the value of the variable is. Okay. So it says evaluate. That's a fancy term for solve. So when you see that, you just need to solve it. Okay. Evaluate 5 times p minus 2 for p equaling 10. So what we're going to do in this first one here, I'm going to show you. We're going to take 5 times p minus 2, and we're going to substitute the 10 in because we now know the value of p. They just told us what it was here. So that's 5 times 10 minus 2. I did 10 minus 2 first. Remember, order of operations, have to do parentheses before I can do anything else in this problem. When I do that, I get 5 times 8, which is 40. As a reminder, we talked about this in class, but you need to make sure that when you're solving these, that you're doing these one step at a time as you're working through the problem. And if you're not quite sure how to do that, please see me about it. Okay? All right. So let's look at some other expressions. We're going to evaluate these expressions too, which just means to solve them. Okay? So m minus 4.7 for m equaling 10. So all we're going to do is we're going to replace m with what it's worth. It's worth 10 in this case, so when I do that, I get 10 minus 4.7, and my answer is 5.3, or 5 3/10. How about this one? 5 plus n times 4 for n equaling 3. Well, that would be 5 plus 3 times 4, because I've just replaced the value of n for the letter. Okay, so I have to do multiplication here first because I don't have parentheses or exponents, but I do have multiplication and division, and that comes before addition or subtraction. So when I do that, I get 5 plus 12, and that equals 17. Let's look at one more. 54 divided by 6 times v for v equaling 3. So we're going to sub that out. 54 divided by 6 times 3. Using my order of operations, no parentheses or exponents, but I do have both multiplication and division. And you remember from talking in class, 54 divided by 6 has to be done first because we work from left to right whenever they're both present in the problem. Okay, so because those two are interchangeable, we start on the left side of the equation and we work our way through that. So when I do that, I end up with 9 times 3, which equals 27. Believe it or not, that's the whole video. Okay, so here are your practice problems. Evaluate those expressions. There is no guided question for this lesson, but I would like you to create a practice problem similar to the ones you've seen in the lesson for a classmate to solve. Please be sure they work out evenly. I don't want any weird remainders or really extended decimal problems. I want them to work out evenly. And we'll see you in class.